In 1960, the film The Andy Griffith Show was released and quickly became a deep impression in the hearts of American and world audiences, with the story of the daily life of widowed Sheriff Andy Taylor and his son Opie in the small town of Mayberry. The work was not only a resounding commercial success, but also became an unforgettable part of the memories of an entire generation. It is a symbol of a simple America where humanity and justice are always respected. But behind those classic characters are actors with very unique fates. More than 6 decades have passed. Time has carved different traces on their lives. Some continue to shine brightly in the Hollywood sky. Some choose a quiet path, and there are also those who had to stop their journey in tragedy. Join us in today's podcast to look back at the ups and downs of the cast that made up the soul of The Andy Griffith Show. Andy Griffith as Andy Taylor. In The Andy Griffith Show, Andy Taylor was the heart of the town. With his kind smile, his unwavering gaze, and his way of solving problems with wisdom rather than violence, Andy Taylor left an indelible impression. Andy Griffith's performance at the age of 34 perfectly portrayed the father, friend, and leader that everyone wanted in their life. He not only acted but seemed to be. Andy Taylor bringing a strange authenticity to the character. After the resounding success of The Andy Griffith Show, Andy Griffith's career did not stop. He proved himself to be a versatile artist, not just limited to the image of a gentle sheriff. One of his most groundbreaking roles was in the film A Face in the Crowd, 1957, where he transformed into an ambitious tramp, showing an incredibly dark and complex acting side. However, the second big turning point in his career came in 1986 with the series Matlock, in which he played a seasoned, intelligent, and somewhat eccentric defense attorney. This role once again brought his name back to the top and lasted for nearly a decade. In his personal life, he was a rather private person, always trying to balance the stage glory with a peaceful life. He went through several marriages, but finally found a happy place with his wife, Cindy Knight. He also faced a devastating health challenge when he contracted Guillain-Barré syndrome in 1983, which left him temporarily paralyzed, but with his strong will, he overcame it and returned to work. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and his life. It seems that the role of Andy Taylor has strangely translated into his life. While on screen, the character is a symbol of a small community in real life. Andy Griffith chose to leave the hustle and bustle of Hollywood to return to his hometown of North Carolina, where he found peace. He became a part of the very community he portrayed on screen. However, that journey of dedication had to stop. On July 3, 2012, Andy Griffith passed away at the age of 86 due to a heart attack. His departure left a big void in the hearts of his fans. The legacy he left behind was not only his classic roles, but also a life story of a man who always returned to his roots, an eternal symbol of kindness. Ron Howard as Opie Taylor. In The Andy Griffith Show, the character Opie Taylor was the embodiment of innocence and curiosity. With his signature red hair and never-ending questions, Opie captured the hearts of the audience. The performance of the then 6-year-old Ron Howard truly and adorably portrayed a child growing up, learning about the world through the lens of warm, father-son love. The relationship between Opie and his father, Andy Taylor, was the soul of the film, bringing profound lessons about how to be a human being. After the success of The Andy Griffith Show, Ron Howard's career took an unexpected turn, going from child star to one of Hollywood's most powerful directors. He continued to act in the popular series Happy Days, 1974, but his true passion lay behind the camera. Starting with low-budget films, Ron Howard gradually asserted his talent as a director. His filmmaking style varied from romantic comedies like Splash 1984, fantasy adventures like Willow 1988, to critically acclaimed dramas like Apollo 13 1995. His career peaked in 2001 with the film A Beautiful Mind, which earned him 2 prestigious Oscars for Best Director and Best Picture. He is also behind a series of other blockbusters such as The Da Vinci Code 2006 or Rush 2013. Regarding his personal life, he has had an admirable marriage with his wife Cheryl since 1975, a rarity in Hollywood. The most thought-provoking thing is the connection between the role and life. It seems that the role of Opie Taylor is a complete opposite of his fate. While on film, the character is a small-town boy living a simple life in real life, Ron Howard is a man with a great vision constantly, conquering new heights and becoming a giant of the film industry. The boy Opie did not stay in Mayberry but reached out to the world. Today, at the age of 71, Ron Howard continues his passionate career as a film director and producer. His journey is a testament to his relentless drive and ability to overcome his own shadow to pursue his passion. From a cute boy on screen, he has become a master filmmaker and continues to inspire the next generation. Don Knotts as Barney Fife on The Andy Griffith Show. Barney Fife was the main comic, a memorable villain in his own right, with his skinny build, wide, worried eyes, and rash actions. Barney Fife left an indelible impression. Don Knotts, then 36, played a brilliant portrayal of a man who appeared confident but was insecure on the inside. The interactions between Barney and Andy created some classic moments, and Don Knotts won an incredible 5 Emmy Awards for the role. After the success of The Andy Griffith Show, Don Knotts' career continued to flourish, mainly focusing on comedy roles. He left the series after 5 seasons to pursue a film career, signing a contract with Universal Pictures and starring in films such as The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, 1966, and The Reluctant Astronaut, 1967. Although these films did not achieve the expected success, he remained a familiar face. His next breakthrough came in the late 1970s when he joined the sitcom Three's Company as landlord, Ralph Furley, a role that also became popular with audiences. In his personal life, he was quite private, but everyone knew he was a hard worker and dedicated to his profession. He battled macular degeneration in his later years, which severely impaired his eyesight, but he did not give up acting. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and life. It seems that the role of Barney Fife has strangely applied to his life, while on the film the character is a person who is always worried and nervous in real life. Don Knotts is also described as a somewhat thoughtful and anxious person, quite different from the humorous image on the screen. He has turned his own insecurities into an art, a unique acting style that cannot be mixed. But that journey of laughter had to stop. On February 24, 2006, Don Knotts passed away at the age of 81 due to respiratory complications from pneumonia related to lung cancer. His passing left a huge void in the comedy world. His legacy is not only his performances, but also a life story of a man who turned fragility into strength, bringing joy to millions. Frances Bavier as Aunt B. Taylor. On The Andy Griffith Show, Aunt B. Taylor was the embodiment of warmth and care, with her excellent cooking skills and kind heart. Aunt B was the one who kept the Taylor family together. Frances Bavier, then 58, portrayed a traditional woman who always put her family first. She made Mayberry feel at home, and the role earned her an Emmy in 1967. Before coming to Mayberry, Frances Bavier was already an experienced Broadway and film actress. She appeared in the classic film The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951. However, it was her role as Aunt B that defined her career forever. After the series ended, she reprised the role in Mayberry RFD. But her personal life was not quite like her on-screen character. She was a single, independent, and somewhat complicated woman. There are many stories about her relationship with her co-stars not always being harmonious. She was a professional but also very demanding, a contrast to the lovable Aunt B. After retiring, she made a surprising decision. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and her life. It seems that the role of Aunt B. Taylor is a complete opposite of her fate. While on the film, the character is a family person, always surrounded by relatives in real life. Frances Bavier is a rather lonely person. She never married and had no children. She chose a quiet path away from Hollywood and moved to a small town called Siler City in North Carolina, the same state where Mayberry is set. She lives a secluded life with her cats. However, that journey of ups and downs had to stop. On December 6, 1989, Frances Bavier passed away at the age of 86 due to congestive heart failure. Her departure left a big void. Her legacy was not only the immortal role of Aunt Bee, but also a life story full of reflection on the difference between art and life, between the image on the screen and the real person behind it. Jim Nabors as Gomer Pyle. On The Andy Griffith Show. The character Gomer Pyle was the epitome of naivety, with a heart of gold and a pure view of the world. The gas station attendant brought the most hearty laughs to the audience. Jim Nabors, then 32, perfectly portrayed the image of a down-to-earth country boy, someone you couldn't help but love. But the biggest surprise was when Gomer sang a powerful and expressive baritone voice that completely contradicted his goofy appearance. After the explosive success of Gomer Pyle, Jim Nabors' career took a huge turn. His character was so popular that the producers created his own series called Gomer Pyle, USMC, which told the humorous story of his enlistment and was also a huge success for 5 years. After leaving the uniform, Jim Nabors focused more on his singing career. He became a successful recording artist with multiple gold and platinum albums, his voice resounding in luxury auditoriums and major television shows. He was a regular guest on his friend Carol Burnett's show and a respected entertainment figure away from the spotlight. He chose a peaceful life in Hawaii, running a macadamia nut farm and enjoying the serenity he had always sought. He also faced a life-or-death battle in 1994 when he underwent a liver transplant. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and life. It seems that the role of Gomer Pyle is a complete opposite of the real person. While on the film, the character is a goofy guy in real life, Jim Nabors is a sophisticated person, a talented singer, and a successful businessman, but there is one undeniable common point. Gomer's kindness and sincerity are also Jim's nature. He lives a private life, keeping his most private stories to himself away from the noise of Hollywood. However, that journey of singing in peace had to stop. On November 30th, 2017, Jim Nabors passed away at the age of 87 due to immune system problems. His departure left a big void. But his legacy was not only about his role as Gomer or his beautiful voice. Just a few years before his death, he shared with the world the love story of his life when he married his partner of 38 years, Stan Cadwallader. It was the final affirmations of a life lived true to himself. A beautiful soul both on screen and in real life. Betty Lynn as Thelma Lou. On The Andy Griffith Show. Thelma Lou was the embodiment of patience and forgiveness. She was the girlfriend who stood by Barney Fife despite his eccentricities and bouts of anxiety. Betty Lynn, then 35, portrayed a sweet woman who was a safe haven for a troubled soul. Their love, despite its many humorous challenges, was always heartwarming. Before becoming Thelma Lou, Betty Lynn was a young actress for 20th Century Fox, appearing in films alongside big stars like Bette Davis. She had a steady career. When Don Knotts decided to leave the series, Betty Lynn felt that her role no longer had a reason to exist without Barney, and she made the brave decision to leave as well. After that, she continued to take on a few other roles, but gradually withdrew from the spotlight. She lived a quiet life, never married, and enjoyed the quiet. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and her life. It seems that Thelma Lou's role has been brought to life in a strange and wonderful way. While on screen, the character's heart always belongs to Mayberry in real life. Betty Lynn made it happen after a home burglary in Los Angeles. She decided to find a safer place, and in 2007 she moved to Mount Airy, North Carolina, Andy Griffith's hometown and the prototype town of Mayberry. She really came home. She became part of the community, regularly appearing at fan festivals and becoming a living symbol of the film. However, that fairy tale-like journey had to stop. after many years of living happily in the real life. Mayberry on October 16th. 2021. Betty Lynn passed away. At the age of 95, her departure left a huge void, as if the last piece of Mayberry was missing. The legacy she left behind was not only the sweet role of Thelma Lou, but also a thoughtful life story about finding peace and living fully with one's own legacy. Howard McNear as Floyd Lawson. On the Andy Griffith Show, Floyd Lawson was a fixture of Mayberry, with his gossipy nature and busy hands. Even if sometimes just waving them in the air, Floyd turned his barbershop into the town club. Howard McNear, then 56, was a haunting portrayal of a somewhat absent-minded but endearing man. He was a veteran actor with a distinguished radio career, notably as Doc Adams on Gunsmoke. Howard McNear's career was a testament to professionalism and tenacity. He worked tirelessly in the entertainment industry. However, at the height of his success as Floyd, something terrible happened. He suffered a massive stroke, leaving him paralyzed on his left side. Everyone thought his career was over. But Andy Griffith and his crew didn't give up on him. They did something extraordinary. They adjusted the script and the way he was shot so that he could continue playing the role. Floyd was always seen sitting down from then on, usually on a barber chair or a bench on the street. They cleverly arranged to hide his physical limitations, all to keep him with the Mayberry family. It's a touching story of friendship and respect. The most thought-provoking aspect is the connection between the role and his life. It seems that the role of Floyd Lawson has a profound but also beautiful contrast with his own fate. While on screen, the character is someone who always needs support and listening from friends in real life. Howard McNear actually received invaluable support from his co-stars during his most difficult days. Mayberry's community spirit has come off the screen to embrace him in real life. However, that courageous journey had to stop. The stroke left serious consequences. On January 3, 1969, just a short time after the series ended, Howard McNear passed away at the age of 63 due to complications from the stroke. His departure left a big void. The legacy he left behind was not only the role of a lovable barber, but also an inspirational life story of resilience and the power of human love. Annetta Corsalt as Helen Crump. On the Andy Griffith Show, Helen Crump was a breath of fresh air for the town of Mayberry. She was not a traditional countrywoman, but a strong, independent, educated schoolteacher. Annetta Corsalt, then in her 30s, brilliantly portrayed the gentle, opinionated woman who was the only one who could control Sheriff Andy Taylor. Their love story became one of the most romantic and beloved storylines. Before Mayberry, Annetta Corsalt had a memorable role alongside Steve McQueen in the classic horror film The Blob, 1958. But it was her role as Helen Crump that made her household name. After the series ended, she continued to have a solid career in television, appearing as a guest star on a number of popular shows. She also reunited with Andy Griffith in an episode of the series Matlock. She was a professional actress respected by her colleagues. There were rumors of a real-life romance between her and Andy Griffith during filming a story that added to the beauty of their on-screen relationship. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and her life. It seems that the role of Helen Crump is a true reflection of her personality. While on screen, the character is an intelligent and graceful woman in real life. Annetta Corsalt is the same person. She lives a rather private life, focuses on her work, and does not get involved in noisy scandals. She is the embodiment of elegance and professionalism. However, that promising journey had to stop abruptly. She quietly fought cancer in the last years of her life. On November 6, 1995, Annetta Corsalt passed away at the age of 62. Her departure left a big void and grief for those who loved Helen. The legacy she left behind was not only her roles, but also the image of an elegant woman, a star who shone quietly and humbly. George Lindsay as Goober Pyle. When Gomer Pyle left Mayberry to join the army, the town got the perfect replacement. Goober Pyle, with his ever-present woolen cap and wide grin, Goober became the town's new mechanic. The then 36-year-old George Lindsay charmingly portrayed the goofy but warm-hearted character, his Cary Grant impersonation of Judy. Judy became one of the series' most memorable moments. After the Andy Griffith Show and its sequel, Mayberry RFD George Lindsay's career was largely in Goober's shadow. He became a regular on the country variety show Hee Haw for 20 years, where he continued to bring laughter with the same image. Unlike many actors who try to escape their fateful roles, George Lindsay chose to embrace it. He understood that Goober had brought him into the hearts of millions. He devoted much of his life to charitable causes, especially fundraising for the Special Olympics, and founding his own charity golf tournament. He became an unofficial ambassador for the values that Mayberry represented: friendliness and kindness. The most thoughtful thing is the connection between the role and life. It seems that the role of Goober Pyle has strangely applied to his life, while, on the film, the character is a simple person, always willing to help people in real life. George Lindsay is the same person. He used Goober's fame, not to enrich himself, but to enrich the community. The beanie hat was not a cage to imprison his career, but a symbol of the joy he brought to everyone. However, that journey of kindness had to stop. On May 6, 2012, George Lindsay passed away at the age of 83. His departure left a big hole in the hearts of those who loved Mayberry. His legacy was not only a funny character, but also a life story of a man who accepted and turned his role into a mission to spread smiles and kindness. Hal Smith as Otis Campbell on The Andy Griffith Show. Otis Campbell was one of the most uniquely comical characters. He was the town drunkard, but he didn't cause trouble. On the contrary, he was so polite that he went into the jail himself, took the key from the wall, and locked himself in. Hal Smith, then 44, played the character brilliantly, both deplorable and pitiful, bringing laughter but also a touch of sadness. After his role as Otis, many people might think that Hal Smith's career revolved around this character, but the truth is quite different. He is one of the most talented and busy voice actors in Hollywood. His voice has been a part of the childhood of millions of children. He is the voice of Owl in Disney's Winnie the Pooh, Goofy in several short films, and hundreds of other cartoon characters. His career is so vast and diverse a world that people who only know Otis Campbell cannot imagine. And there is one most amazing fact about his life. The most interesting thing is the connection between the role and the life. It seems that the role of Otis Campbell is a complete opposite of the real person. The man who played the most famous drunk on television did not drink in real life. Hal Smith was a family man, a professional, and a healthy person. He used his masterful acting skills to create a character that was the complete opposite of himself. He even used the fame of Otis to talk to teenagers about the dangers of alcohol abuse. But that journey of talent had to stop. On January 28, 1994, Hal Smith passed away at the age of 77 due to a heart attack. His passing left a huge void in the voiceover industry. His legacy is a testament to the power of acting, a man who could make the world believe in a character while being a completely different person. He was both the Otis Campbell of Mayberry and the voice of a world of childhood.